All right, Nicholas, we're going. What do you want, Nicholas or Nick?
Whatever you like.
I kind of like Nicholas.
Yeah.
We'll go with Nicholas.
3-2 in imaginary one. It's Wayne's World.
We were working on that because this is what's this, Mark? Your second week now? Yeah, we were working on that with first week of training, the 3-2, but we finally got it down.
Yeah.
Same with all the cameras and stuff. So how's your week going? I guess it's Monday, probably.
Monday.
You just started.
Yeah, just starting. I don't finish, so it's kind of continuation, but week's going well.
That's the thing, like weekends must be like the busiest for you.
Yeah.
And then Monday mornings, is it a little bit relaxing, or there's still just always things going for you?
Always things going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you guys just opened up the rock climbing place.
Well, that's they're tenants, but
Okay.
yeah, we've got the building, but
It's awesome.
yeah, rock climbing, and then it's hopping next door at the brewery too. So
Man, it's a great little setup you guys got down there. We love it.
yeah, it's beautiful.
And every time we see Quake, he's always bringing you guys up too, that you guys always have something. Every time we bring you guys up, other than your food and your Donairs and things like that we'll get into, we always talk about your marketing.
Yeah.
Like you guys are very good at that.
Yeah, thank
Very
you.
good at the
Yeah,
marketing
we
aspect.
love Quake too. So
Yeah.
yeah, big fans.
He loves you guys too. And he loves your food. Oh,
Yeah.
so do I.
Good.
I guess I want to start. I don't even know how far back I want to start, but I did a little bit of research. I saw 1973 KOD was brought to Halifax.
That's right.
And who was that brought here by?
Peter Gamalakis.
Okay, I couldn't pronounce the last name, so I'm
Yeah,
glad you did.
yeah. He's a Greek immigrant.
Okay.
He came here.
I just want to lift that up a bit. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure when he came, but he started. He was here before '73, obviously, and it's no secret that the gyro or gyro is a Greek delicacy, or I wouldn't know if it's called delicacy, but it's a Greek dish.
Yeah.
And he tried to hit a couple of restaurants before and tried to serve that. It wasn't taking off, and then he just made some changes basically to the two main components, the sauce and the meat. So going from the gyro, adding the beef, where gyro is usually lamb, or a blend, and then the sauce, which is typically on the gyro, is the tzatziki. So then he created the Donair sauce, which is more of a sweet, tangy.
Yeah.
And that's when he perfected that at KOD, and in the same kitchen that we still run out of Kumpa Road.
So what do you mean he tried to hit a couple locations before? Like he tried the recipe a couple times before?
Oh
and it
no,
failed?
he had other restaurants.
Oh, he had other
Yeah,
restaurants.
Yeah,
Oh,
where he
okay.
served the gyros.
Okay, yeah.
And then he eventually he had Velos before, and then which Velos was still going around not too long ago. But and then King of Donair is where he made the Donair. Like what we know today as the Donair, it was invented by Peter, in '73.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is he still with us?
No.
No.
His son Leo is. But,
Okay.
And Leo, when Leo drops by, it's funny. He'll go into the back, and he remembers, after school, that's where I would go, and he could still, old school people cut the Donair meat by hand with the electric knife, and that guy can cut it thinner than our electric knives can, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I ever met you when we did do a little video at KOD, like I said, three years ago now, maybe. And I asked you the question. I said, well, what's the biggest difficulty for someone that's starting here as a new job? Like, what's the hardest thing for them to do? Is it to make the Donair? Is it to make the pizza? And you said cutting the Donair meat thinly.
Yeah.
You said that's a real skill, and it takes a real master to master that.
For sure.
So what do you think the key is to that when you're training someone? Just like I'm training Mark with the mics and stuff. What's your key to training cutting the Donair?
Just practice. I mean,
Just keep doing it.
Consistency, yeah. Because even if you can have your blade set to a certain thinness, but then it's not just up down. You want to you try and keep half and half of a slice of meat. You don't want a fully cooked meat. You want half cooked, because we have a secondary cooking process. We have to put the meat on the grill afterwards on the griddle.
Okay.
So you don't want a full cut meat. You kind of want to go half cooked and half uncooked, but not really, half less cooked.
So you can dry it out, like you can dry.
for
can
sure.
you?
Yeah, if you let the rotisserie go, the whole day, it's just going to dry your meat out.
It's just such a juicy piece of meat. You just think it would never be able to dry out. It's just so good every time you get it.
You can bring some life back to it by putting it on the grill and throwing some water on it. But it definitely can dry out.
At what point do you think it kind of took over the culture? Because I'm sure in 1973 when it first came, everyone was like, "Oh, it's good," but obviously in 2020, it's taken over. It's the official food of Halifax. At what point do you think it started to become in the culture here?
I would say I wasn't around for it, but just hearing stories from I call them the old heads coming back in the late 80s, because we are such a big university city.
Never thought of that.
Yeah, it was all, because people, it's a drunk food. It's drunk food, which it has that stigma, which is fine, and it still is delicious, when you're drinking. But it's blown up since that. It's all the students who would be out drinking late at night, come home and want something to eat, or go down to Pizza Corner and have a Donair, and then they go home and they go away. So they're coming back with whether they're taking their kids to St. Mary's or Dalhousie. So it's that sort of probably 50+ age that we're hearing stories about. So I think it's that. I would put it around the mid 80s to late 80s that, when all these students came and then they go back to Ontario, they go back to out west or to the States and spread the word. And so I'd say, in my opinion, around the late 80s.
And it's really cool how, the pop culture of it is starting to spread across Canada.
Yeah.
Because don't you have a couple stores out west now?
For sure, yeah. And I would say that sort of the 80s would be like one spike, but then we had another spike too, sort of the social media era, which just like boomed it to another level. And yeah, right now we're 4 locations out west with a Calgary location open up in November.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congrats, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're pretty pumped.
That's a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, like, it was like, oh, this is an official Donair meat. Oh, this is an official Donair sauce. But you guys were always the official of having the right meat, having the right sauce. So to have your establishment across Canada now,
no,
it's a big deal.
Yeah, we're pretty pumped. And, I've eaten Donairs all across the country. And I'm telling you, you'll get people, and I get it. They're like passionate about their backyard, their neighborhood Donair shop. Oh, mine's the best. Mine's the best. And I get that. But there's no comparison.
No, there really isn't.
No.
And there's something about an advertisement from you that just gets me. I don't know what. I think it was the King of Donair video with Quake that he did. I don't know how many years ago now. Me and my roommate were watching it on YouTube, and within 20 minutes after watching that video, I was at your place getting a Donair. There's something about a commercial, not even a commercial, just a picture of it on Instagram, a tweet about it on Twitter. It's something that captures you, and you're like, I need that. I don't know what it is. It's almost like McDonald's. How you see a McDonald's commercial, and you're like, I need a double quarter pounder. It's the same effect with the Donair. I see it. I'm gonna go grab one.
No, that's cool. It's a fun food, right? And I think there's a bit of mystery to it as well. Yeah. And the fact that when you've had it, like it's almost like your mind's like, these things should not go together so well. The sweet and cold sauce with spicy meat. Like, who thinks that it's, think of like putting icing on a steak. Like, that doesn't sound good.
No.
And not that those two things are the same, but our sauce is very sweet. There's no secret that there's sugar in it.
Yeah.
And then the meat is nice spiced beef.
Yeah.
And they taste delicious together. So
it's unreal.
Yeah.
It's a good little recipe you got.
Yeah.
So how did you get involved in the game? Like, were you born into it? How did you?
Yeah.
How did it come about?
Born into it. I mean,
born into it?
Yeah. My father, he's a Lebanese immigrant, and they sort of, he's still to this day, he's hustling and grinding in the office. And, ever since we're 3 brothers, ever since we could walk, he would take us to the stores and do what we could, whether it's balancing the floats or, learning the codes, combinations on the safe, or, when we get a bit older, working in the store behind the counter. So ever since we, basically could walk, we go around with him and learn. And we obviously took some time off and went to school, and we did our own thing for a while. Like, I'm a lawyer by trade. My other brother's a lawyer as well. The other one's an engineer. But now we're all in the family business and working full time.
Do you have any early memories of maybe post school going back to the Donair shop and just trying to cut something and maybe messing up? Like, if you're in the shop that early, you must have some memories.
Oh yeah, I know my younger brother. He fell in the. We used to have literally like a big garbage can, Rubbermaid tub of sauce. That's how we used to make the Donair, the pizza sauce. Sorry, he fell into a bucket of pizza sauce at one point. That's a true story. It's pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, we get in trouble. We have to go work there, work New Year's Eve, or late nights. And, there's nothing that comes off the top of my head.
Everything that, every time something gets brought up about an immigrant's work ethic and it's instilled by their father or their grandparents, you must have you obviously experienced that firsthand. Talk about the work ethic. Talk about the dedication that goes into building an empire like you guys have.
It's nonstop. I mean, it's crazy. Like I wish I had half the energy my father still has at this age, right? It's something that you come here with nothing, and so that's just this feed, and it's no. I mean, everyone knows the story of someone coming and being hungry. It's just the hunger, and it just doesn't end, and wanting to better yourself, and then better yourself, your family's life, and it's just it's something it's impressive, and something that I take pride that I have, and I'm giving to my kids too.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you're a father.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah,
Congrats.
Two boys. Yeah,
two boys.
Yeah.
Are they in the shop too?
They do. One's 5, so he comes with me. They both 8 their first bit of Donair meat before I'd say 2 years old. So
No,
got to get them early, right?
that's awesome.
Yeah.
No,
But
it's great that it's a family business. I love there's a YouTube channel called Munchies out there, and they love going to New York and like Italian neighborhoods and family oriented I don't know, restaurants.
yeah,
And you see the work ethic that goes into the father, even the mother, when they just work their ass off for 20 years while the kids go to school, and then they come back, and then the next thing you know, it's the neighborhood staple.
yeah.
And it's incredible to see how, I don't know, just a shitload of work ethic can create something like that. It's really cool. And the cool thing I thought was about some of these videos is how people come in and they know you by first name. I love that. The first name basis. How you doing, Tony? Good to see you, Robert. How are you, James? Things like that I just love. And unfortunately, I kind of see it going away with, life. But a neighborhood staple is something that I think is a very underrated thing. And I think KOD, has that.
Yeah, no,
It's a nice thing.
for sure. Like, especially Quimple Road, there's no question that has that. I mean, I've seen people who've grown from literally elementary school to being fathers and mothers now and parents, and then people have seen me, and we just over the years. I mean, you're looking at, for me, I'm 36, and no exaggeration, being there since I was 10 years old. That's just you see a lot of people come and go, and I hope this gets instilled with the the franchises out west, because they don't have that history behind them. It's like, you open up in 2017, 2020. It's it'd be nice for that to continue, but it's always nice we try and instill the Halifax history into these other cities, in our stores, on the walls, in our training.
Yeah.
So I mean, we ideally we'd like to get people to train in a Halifax location, but with COVID going on now, it's not really possible.
Also, people that own the franchises out west, you train them here.
We've had that happen with
Before.
one of the places before, and now it's not possible. And in a lot of our stores here, they're old school. Like I said, the 73, that kitchen we've done some renos, but it's not how we would open up a new store, a new build, right? It's not the most efficient way, but it works for us here.
Yeah.
So we like to train them in a newer store, but when the time comes, I mean, we have our franchise partners who want to come. They want to see the history, where it was done, and work behind the original, the OG. We call it the OG store, right?
So what are some things that you like to instill in new people that start to work for you? What are some things that you like to train them on?
Just even the history of knowing, because not so much this summer, but I mean, our summer months, the tourist season, we'll serve every day. There's no question we'll serve some of the first Donair. But in the summer season, we have more tourists than locals eating. So you're always going to have someone coming in and asking questions. Oh, when was this? When did you start this? When was the Donair around? What's in this? So you're just trying to give them a bit of information, history on what the people are eating, because they're going to question that, no doubt, right?
Yeah, that's almost half the enjoyment of eating a Donair, is knowing the history about it. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Because when you do go into your store, it is just pictures on the wall. It is just history of Halifax. It is just history. It's history.
Yeah. We try and tell a story with it, because it's not just like you're not just eating a hamburger from McDonald's. As good as that is, there's more to it.
Yeah. What was it like meeting Anthony Bourdain?
It was cool. It was he was super mellow, super chill. He has everyone. Every day of his life would have been like talking about food. And what do you think of this? What do you think of that? What do you think of our oysters, our seafood? So it was almost like a bit of breath of fresh air, talking to him. In my opinion, this is, I can't speak for him, but, we had my brother and I were there. We had a common, activity with him. He was a blue belt in Jujitsu. We do Jujitsu as well. So, and we trained under the same guy, Henzo Gracie. So for him to sort of speak about Jujitsu when it's food, 99% of his day, it was almost like, oh man, this is cool. Let's talk about something else. And that was something that he picked up late in his life that he really loved and enjoyed, and that was his new drug, was Jujitsu. So we talked a bit about that, and he had the Donair, and his words were, it was marvelous, which I find funny. Like, I've never eaten anything in my life and said, this is marvelous, So it was that descriptive word really stuck out. But no, he was cool. He was tall. Yeah, he's a big dude.
He was tall.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Were the cameras with him there, or was he just here on vacation?
No, he was. So there's in Wolfville, they do a food film festival called Devour, and each year they bring in, us. They try and sort of mix it up with a celebrity or a celebrity chef. They almost go 1-on-1, and this was it was an after party for I don't know who it was for, but sort of a VIP, I guess, after party, and it was in a shed of one of the donors or sponsors. shed in their house in Wolfville.
Okay.
So there was literally like stacks of wood behind us and tools all behind us, like where we set up our Donair machine. So he just came. He was there for maybe 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Had a Donair, chatted a bit, and then took off.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Little moments like that kind of make the whole thing worth it. Just meeting a guy like that.
Yeah. No, it was super cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Matty Matheson too. You met him?
Yeah. Matty, he comes. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know about swearing on this. And you bring him up, it's hard not to swear. But he's great. We love him. We've been huge fans of him, and he comes in when he's in town. He'll stop by and shoot the shit and have some food.
Because he's from where is he? He's from New Brunswick, I thought. He's a local guy, maritime guy.
He spent some time. He lived here, I believe, in Dartmouth, but I think he's from somewhere outside Toronto.
Yeah. There's so many cool food facts around. Not food facts, but just food culture from around here that you can go all over the world to. I don't know, look at Matty. He's an international guy, and he just came from here.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, that's the one thing I love about this podcast. Not even food, not even in sports, business. There's just so many great people that come from this part of the world that can go, look at you. You're across Canada. You have stores all over the place. It's a cool part of the world that I love.
It is, yeah.
There's so many cultural experiences that you can share with the world. I like it. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I guess plans for, I don't want to say expansion, but like when you're a business owner, you're always thinking, what's the next move?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're allowed to say it on the podcast, but in your mind, what do you think about on a daily basis other than serving food?
I love talking about food. I mean, it's everything. Like this is, we're a family business. This is part of the portfolio. We're into some other things. I know we're focused on the food here, but so this is the most fun, thing to talk about. But we're always working on whether it's development or new stores or we've got a bar as well, which is fun to sort of, you can have fun with that as well.
Yeah.
But the goal with King of Donair is to blow it up to the 100 unit level, and we're in talks now with going down to the States and the US with, I mean, it's hard to grow with one-off franchise partners, so we're looking at almost conglomerates to sort of take a package. Here you have the rights for X amount of stores for this state or this province or this city, I should say. So that's the 5-year plan or less than 5-year plan, but
cool.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes.
What are the biggest challenges with franchising? I watched the movie. You ever see the movie The Founder?
Yeah, wicked movie.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I have to watch it again. There's just so many good things about it, and it's probably the biggest food franchise success story in the world, right? Just getting the right franchise partner. I mean, you're not just going to, we're learning this. We've never really franchised before, and you don't want just, here's a check for X amount of dollars, I want to open up a store. You can't just give it to everyone. Everyone wants to work it. Who wants to, say I own a business?
Yeah.
It's hard work. I mean, you've got to be owner operator to be successful. It's not just I want to buy this because I think it'd be cool to have in my portfolio or I think it's going to make me money. You've got to be working late hours. You've got to be cleaning the dishes. You've got to be doing, having great customer service. You can't just buy it, give it to someone to run and expect it to be successful. So I guess just picking the right partners.
It's like, it's one thing I always think about here. We're a small company, but we're starting to grow, and there's a lot more aspects that come my way that I have to take care of, training him, just, getting all this set up, things that are happening on a day-to-day basis. And I find my hands are in a lot of avenues.
Yeah.
And I find sometimes the quality of the work can't be there because I'm having to work on so many things. So it seems like you're going through that, or you've been going through that. How old are you? 34?
36.
36 years old, and you have what you have. So I guess what's the one thing that you like to take pride in when it comes to the business?
Up until I'd say last year was really, strict 100% family that we're doing it, and there comes a point where you can't, and we're all pretty hands-on, and it comes a point where you realistically you can't do everything. Where it's from the legal to the accounting to the marketing to everything, you've got to give up something at some point.
And that's tough for me. It is tough. I get because I'm so control. I need to have my hands in everything. Was that tough for you?
For sure, yeah. And it still is, and we're slowly we can't say, okay, we can't run operations out west. I mean, so we've got some boots on the ground out west now. We've got great partners out in Vancouver who are close enough to go fly into Edmonton or fly into Calgary and deal with things there. But then, in terms of challenges too, the whole COVID has just created like this massive challenge for the entire world.
Yeah.
But there's also good, possibilities with it as well. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did the changes like affect you guys? Were you? I don't even know the restaurant industry. As soon as everything hit, did you guys have to shut down completely?
No, so speaking here for Halifax, you know, we were probably busier,
Yeah.
because we were on every third party app that came from Skip the Dishes, Uber Eats, DoorDash, Food Highway. We were on them. It's a double edged sword with those because that's where the business is in terms of delivery. Like we have all in-house delivery as well, but then people are pulling away from it just because of the ease of going on your phone and clicking with your thumb and not having to speak to anyone. And but then the other side of the sword is that they kill you with commission, that they take from it. But, then you go back, flip onto the other side. People are upselling. You don't need our employees aren't necessarily going to say, hey, do you want to add cheese to that? Do you want to add this to that? It's all done for you. You don't have to worry about customer service. It's just click, click, click. So you're getting higher ticket items.
Okay.
So we were on those since day one. And during, the height of the pandemic, people were ordering on there like crazy.
No.
Because, it was nuts.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we've really focused more, and even our new builds, we're going smaller footprint to.
What does that mean? Smaller, smaller...
less in-house seating.
Okay.
Not that we had, we weren't a sit-in, dine-in restaurant, but we're basically having the minimal amount of seating and focusing more on even, I don't know if you want to call it desktops or areas for the tablets and for delivery, because a lot of even here, a lot of places have closed in their dining. If they do have dining, it's limited because of the social distancing and that. So it's a lot more focused on delivery.
Everything's changing so quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to keep up with absolutely everything.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
I remember I went to a couple of years ago, and I was in New York, and Virgil's. It's a barbecue restaurant.
Okay.
And place sits hundreds of people. And at that time, obviously the population, they've got more businesses in there. They literally had probably the size of this table of half a dozen, 8 different tablets of different food delivery companies, which they had to adapt, and they didn't have that years ago, and add the pandemic onto that and add less people going out to eat. I can't imagine what it'd be like there right now.
Do you like to do that? Do you like to travel places and kind of see what other people do and mimic it?
Totally.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How does that help you in a sense? Because,
get ideas, man. You don't. I like to think, we've got 3 heads, and here in Halifax, the brothers, we've got good ideas amongst us, but we don't know everything.
Yeah.
And you go to big cities where food is, they live and breathe it, on steroids. They've just got so many good things that we don't have or haven't thought about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting where the food industry is going.
Yeah.
Are families cooking at home more, or are families ordering from Skip the Dishes more?
I think Skip the Dishes.
I think so too.
Yeah.
More convenient.
For sure.
People are really busy.
It's super convenient, but it's crazy expensive. Like, even I find myself catching, it's just like, I'm lazy. I'll just go on, look at my order history, and you press a button and it's done.
Yeah.
You don't have to talk to anyone, and now they literally just leave it on your doorstep and send you a text and say, hey, your food's here. You're talking about expansion or new things. One thing that we tried to get here, but the pandemic kind of put a halt on it. Is we out west, we started our chicken Donair as well, which we haven't brought in Halifax yet, but we will eventually. And it's basically giving someone an option who doesn't want to eat beef or who doesn't eat beef or wants to change. It's the protein base is all chicken. It's the same spices, added a new sauce, a bit new toppings. So that's something that's I guess new for us, that we were kind of thinking, what can we do here to get a bigger piece of the pie in terms of people eating.
Always thinking.
Yeah.
Always thinking ahead. What about the vegetarian option? Have you guys thought of that, or is that too far gone?
No,
you can't.
We have veggie pizza. If
that's
you
good enough.
Yeah.
Get a cheese pizza.
You can't, yeah, exactly. You can't please everyone.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
I love how you're not saying, "Oh, we're trying." No, we're good.
Yeah,
I love that.
One thing, not to stray too far off, we had the Donair cam a couple of years ago. I don't know if you remember hearing about that. It was
the what?
The Donair cam. It was literally donaircam.com. It was literally a 24/7 video camera on our Donair, one of our spits.
I did see this.
So it was rotating.
Yes.
So
yeah.
literally, that just blew up like crazy. I can't even, I've got the stats on it at home, but it was insane. Like our first viral thing that we did, and we had people from 160 something countries watching, and literally when the lights would turn on, when an employee would come in, we get phone calls from Germany, phone calls from Russia. Like, it was just insane. So at night we'd have fun because literally just spinning like this with nothing on it. So we put toys on there, we put certain things. We made a joke. We put an onion and a tomato on it, and it was just rotating. And we said, "This is our vegetarian cam." We had vegetarians and calling us and emailing us, trying to boycott us, don't eat here. It's like, are you kidding me, man? Like, come on.
Oh
First of
my
all, you're
God.
vegetarian, you're not eating this anyway, so we don't care. And second of all, lighten up.
Relax.
But yeah, it was pretty funny.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I remember the pizza eating contest was awesome. I think
Yeah.
that was that was 2 years ago. That was a great time.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
It was fun, and actually, the guy who won that, he's done quite a few of our eating contests. Joel Hansen, he's just been nonstop this whole time in the States traveling. He must have hit up 50 different spots.
Has been winning?
I don't think he's doing like competitions. He's just doing like features. He's going with a couple other big eaters and just kind of saying like, meet us here, like almost like a meet and greet thing.
No way.
And-
He has fans.
Oh yeah, and he's big time.
I remember like walking in there. There was probably like 50, maybe 60 people sitting in there,
Yeah.
maybe a bit more. And they were actual fans. Like there was a guy that traveled. He just like, I just got here from Calgary. I'm ready to compete.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
the guy I'm talking about. I forget the guy.
Stepdaddy J.
Stepdaddy J. Yeah. That guy was hilarious. That guy took over the room. He walked in. He had the whole persona going.
Yeah.
Incredible.
He's still eating too. Yeah.
Make a living off it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But no, it was a great time. But that comes back to the whole marketing thing. You guys think differently. You guys are outside the box.
Outside the box.
You know, just it's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
It's a great thing.
Actually, we've got partners, our Australian pizza box partners. They actually say they think inside the box. So I don't know if you've seen our relatively new pizza boxes. We like to switch them up. So it's called a pizza bib.
I've seen it.
And yeah, you open it up, tear it up, and you wear it almost like to protect your shirt, but it's more funny than anything. So their whole saying is, we think inside the box.
Oh, I get
Yeah.
that. I like that. Inside the
Yeah,
box.
it's pretty funny.
Who has one? Like Randy has one from Trailer Park Boys. Quake
Randy-
had one
yeah,
or something.
Quake has one right now, yeah.
Does he?
Yeah, we got some new ones coming out for Christmas too, and Dumb and Dumber, and Julian, and hockey player, basketball player. Tupac. We had Tupac one for a while.
That's nice. Who's
Yeah.
the artist?
It's this guy out in Australia. Some dude, I haven't even met him, but he's buddies with our pizza guys, our box guys.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to know this. I'm sure it's different for every other pizza place, Donair place. Out of the whole year, I'm assuming it's the Super Bowl, but what's the busiest day?
I don't think I can.
And if you can't answer that, busiest day of the week and what time?
So it's because our stores here, they're different demographics. Our Sackville location is heavy pizza based. You go there on a Friday, it's just lined about the door for pizza, right? And it's all pick up bedroom communities. They go pick their pizza up and they go home, take it for the family. Whereas down, say, Kumple Road, for example, we've got the brewery beside us, and it's people walking, a lot of walking customers and late night customers. Whereas out in Sackville, it's basically dead after 10 p.m. Whereas in Kumple Road, that's our busiest time kind of thing. So I can't pinpoint a day, but Super Bowl is busy. But it'd have to be a season like summertime, tourist. Like
summer, yeah.
And like I said before, Donair has this sort of stigma of a late night drunk food, but it's I'd say another sort of big expansion on the food was when it became an official food of Halifax. That's when a lot more people started eating it all hours of the day, drunk, sober, young, old, male, female. It's really grown in terms of when you can eat a Donair, because it's not as bad as people think it is for you. It's not that bad. You can make a salad have 1,000 calories in it if you add on all this bacon and dressing and that. But if you have the reasonable amount of Donair sauce on your Donair, it's not that bad for you. It's very high in protein, and so it's getting out of that stigma of late night drunk greasy food.
Yeah,
which it still can be, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But so in terms of the busiest day, Super Bowl is busy, yeah, for sure. But a summertime when we've got a lot of tourists and would be probably one of our busiest times.
I used to work at the Prince George Hotel. I was a concierge, and same thing, summertime, really busy. And oddly enough, I remember this, there would be people coming in from like Alabama, like Middle America, China, and they come up here to the concierge desk, and they'd ask two things: where do you get the best lobster, and where do you get the best Donair?
That's funny. No,
but you're like, Alabama. You're like, what? How do you know about this?
It's crazy. And like we sell quite a bit of merch online, and more of our stuff goes to the, like you said, Alabama. Like I keep a list just because it blows my mind. Like, how the hell do you know about us? Like somewhere in Wisconsin or Alabama or Mississippi. Like, how do you know about this? Well, the Trail Park Boys, have been, that's really helped spread the word a lot. And we get a lot of people, I can't wait to come and try this just because they hear about it on TV or on the Trail Park Boys. But yeah, it's strange cities, strange to me to hear they want to get a King of Donair t-shirt or a hat.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Right back to what I was saying like 20 minutes ago about how there's things from around here that are so embedded in the culture around the world.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah.
You bring up Trailer Park Boys. What are those guys like? How does it work when they're in character, when they're not in character? Like when you're conducting business with them, like how does that work?
You know, so it's not like, hey, Bubbles, you know.
Yeah, like what do you do?
Yeah, no. So there's I got a, you know, there's a guy there that I talked to, Jason.
Like a manager.
Yeah, and he's great, and he's always, you know, if we have any ideas, like we're trying to cook up a new idea coming up with them in the near future. It's just like, hey man, what do you think of this? Yeah, for sure, let's set it up and we'll work something out. So it's just I guess you want to call it manager. Talk to a guy there and make arrangements.
I'll need that contact. I want them on this show. That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
They're based on? Are they in Halifax? Like they're around
Dartmouth.
here? Cool,
Yeah.
Dartmouth.
Yeah.
Same another thing. Those guys around the world.
Yeah, and they're huge. I mean, you know, I've been a fan of the show, you know, before any of this, but then now being in it, it's just like the messages we get, and I can only imagine what they get, and then seeing their mailbag, you know, their sort of podcast, it's insane. And like I've been. You know, I lived in Australia, I lived in the UK, and when people hear, oh, you're from Nova Scotia, do you know the Trailer Park Boys? You ever heard them? And they love it over there. It's literally worldwide. It's nuts.
I get it, but I also don't get it. It's just like, all right, like low budget Trailer Park Boys, like they hit like that certain niche and people just love it.
I just remember, you know, Showcase. That was like, I think that was the first time I saw them. It was like Showcase to me didn't seem like it wasn't like a big production. Maybe it was, but not in my mind. Just kind of seemed like sort of chintzy like logo and that, but that's just what in my mind what I picture it as. Obviously it's a lot bigger than that. They've been on many. They're on Netflix now for, you know,
they are.
It's crazy.
How many seasons do they have now? Like 8, 12? They're up there.
13, 14 maybe. Yeah,
I remember like I wasn't allowed to watch it when I was real young, so I'd have to wait. Same thing, Showcase.
Yeah,
or Showtime or Showcase.
Maybe show something.
I'd wait up to like 1 a.m. till the parents went to sleep, just chucked it on there, watched it.
That's funny.
That's a great time. You said you lived in where did you say you lived? London?
Just outside London, but Australia and England.
What are you doing? What were you doing out there?
Going to school.
Oh, to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
Law school.
Yeah. I went
Studied
to law school in
abroad.
Australia and I did a master's in England.
What was that? What's Australia like?
I was wicked. I
Yeah?
mean, where I was, it was like literally like felt like a, you know, I like to go hot places, go to beaches for vacation, so that felt like a, you know, permanent vacation. I was on the Gold Coast and you know, 30-degree weather and it was beautiful.
Tough to study in that weather,
or you get it. I mean, I was there for a purpose, right? So I know how I'm pretty good at balancing, you know, responsibilities and having fun at the same time. So
good.
Yeah, so there were times for sure where stuff. Yeah.
What about London? What was it like living there?
It was cool. It was I prefer I like the climate of Australia better, but it was still fun, great experience, easy to travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You learn a lot of lessons about living away from home. At least I lived in Vancouver for a bit. Just learned a lot of lessons.
Yeah, for
learned
sure.
a lot about yourself.
Yeah.
How old were you when you did all this?
Early 20s maybe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, early 20s.
So when you're in your head, when you're over there working, are you going, I'm going to be at KOD working and running that franchise? Or when you're over there, are you thinking, no, I'm going to be a lawyer?
Yeah, well, for my master's kind of was, you know, I knew something business.
Yeah.
I was, you know, I was thinking about doing my PhD and going. I left that, so I was sort of still thinking like, you know, school, something around school. Like I taught at the university for 5 years.
What university?
Mostly it was just part time there. Mostly at St. Mary's, but I taught at Dal. I taught at the Mount as well.
No way.
Undergrad law program there. But so I was, you know, I didn't really when I was going to law school, I knew. I wasn't going to practice. I knew that for sure. And, you know, 50% of law grads, that may be an outdated stat right now, but they don't practice. It's such a good backing to have in really any business. But I knew at one point, you know, it was eventually to go back and work with the family business for sure.
What's the one thing that you took from that aspect of your life of going to school and brought it to KOD? Is there any like lesson or any maybe like law that you learned and brought it to business?
Oh, I mean, I kind of use indirectly the law every day, whether it's looking at a contract or just it's just literally, it's honestly a different way of thinking.
Yeah. There's the head coach for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Same thing. Studied to become a lawyer.
Oh yeah.
And then became like an agent, I think, and now he's the head coach of the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Nice.
And I was in the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of, now that you bring that up, there's a bunch of guys that I know that their background is law, didn't become a lawyer, and then they're successful in any sort of business.
Yeah. It's a good foundation for business.
Yeah. It's a lot of reading.
I mean, you can read. They'd say read these 10 articles. I mean, I wasn't big on reading. I get the point of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's awesome. I had no idea. That's
Yeah.
good for you.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's sick. Plans for, I guess, is COVID over? Are we allowed to say that? It's still going. It's still going. What's the agenda, I guess, for the rest to ride this out? Are you just happy with things that you're doing, or is there any game plan to change? Because if you're saying sales are up through Skip the Dishes and Uber Eats, there's no point of changing anything. But maybe in your head you have something.
Yeah, and like again, that's us. We're grounded here. You know, we're established here. We've
Yeah.
been here for a while. But out west, it's a different story. Like, I mean, I know we've got a place, rural Grand Prairie, which I'd never even heard about before. You know, going there, you know, it's a lot different atmosphere there than it is here. So, you know, we've got do we have one active case right now?
I don't know.
If that. Whereas, you know, still in Alberta, they're getting hundreds a day. So it's I can't speak for out there. They're not having the same success.
Yeah.
Just because of where they are and what's going on. But in terms of moving forward with it, it's you know, everyone says the second wave's coming. It's just focus on delivery and just try and get the word out there as much as you can.
Let's say I'm hanging out with you for the day. You and me, we both work at KOD, and I'm mentoring you. What are we doing from the time we wake up to the time the day is done to run that business?
It's literally that's the beauty of why I'm happy in doing what I'm doing. Like I love work. It's not like a 9 to 5. It's a start to finish. I can, if I want, I can go to the gym at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I can go relax for a bit, and because I'm going back to work at 8 or 9 o'clock when my kids go to sleep. So it's honestly different every day. And if I get bored of something with KOD, I can throw in something else. Like I said, we've got other diversified businesses we're into. So it's hard to say. Like I certain days, like say Thursday, I'll go around to a few of the stores. I'll go downtown. I've got, you know, set things I do on certain days, but every day is honestly different.
That's kind of nice, though. It's refreshing.
Yeah, it is.
When you talk about a person that's kind of sick of their job, it's the guy that's doing the same thing every day.
Yeah.
It's nice to freshen that up.
No, for sure. And
Keep
like
it
I say,
different.
I'm fortunate that I can, all right, well, if I'm pissed off at something today, or if I don't feel like doing this right now, I can put that on hold because there's always something else to do. There's always something that, you know, there's always something to do.
Yeah.
And unless there's a hard timeline on it or a deadline on it, then it's, okay, I don't want to deal with this right now. I'm going to move on to something else. So,
Yeah. It's good. Same thing here.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to play like top the story, but it's just like, you know, if I'm working on something and I'm pissed off,
Yeah.
no, I'm going to work on something else.
yeah.
It's a nice thing.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I like how sometimes businesses, they're different. Like this is a different business than KOD, but
Yeah.
same problems I find.
Yeah.
You got to put same things out. You got to figure things out. You got to work towards other things.
For sure. And I think for, you know, I believe you when you say, oh, it's a similar thing. Like, I mean, you could say, oh, maybe I don't want to cover this. I don't know if you've talked about food before. I don't listen to every podcast,
Yeah.
but you know, you're a lot more on sports, right?
Well, we're
And-
on sports, but like sports can kind of become repetitive.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So
yeah,
like throwing a Donair now to switch it up a bit, right?
we got Affy coming on from the Bahamas. You know him?
No.
He's a huge artist. He's on Jimmy Kimmel. He's got millions of views on YouTube. His name's Affy. I forget his last name, but he's in a band called the Bahamas, and it's him and a bunch of artists. He was at the Halifax Jazz Fest last year. He featured. He was the head act.
Oh, cool.
Anyways, he lives in Halifax, and he called me this morning. Same thing. He's just like, I don't really know anything about sports. I'm like, well, I don't. Like, yeah, it's high button sports, but we have athletes that come on here. We don't even talk about sports. We just talk about life.
Yeah.
You know, it's the thing I like about the podcast and how we can diversify. Because if you have a hockey player on here 5 days a week,
Yeah.
some of the stories become somewhat similar.
For sure.
So it's nice to have a little mix up and have a story come on about, like I said, entrepreneurship, artists, comedians,
Yeah.
musicians, anything.
No,
Because it's funny. Like, I know it might be hard to believe, but you have these conversations so much. Every story, success story, just kind of evolves around the same thing, which is work, don't stop, and like have blinders on, just keep going straight. Don't look to the right or left, and just keep going. It doesn't matter if you're a hockey player, you're a musician. You just keep on going. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah. And that widens your audience too, right? It's not like
Yeah.
you're not just getting the hockey fans. It's
Well, it kind of makes me more interested. You know, like I said, if we had a hockey player in here 5 days a week, that 5th episode on Friday, I'd be like, okay, well, what are we going to talk about here?
Yeah.
You know, is it something I already talked about 4 days out of the week?
Yeah.
So it's nice to have a guy like you in here and other people just to kind of freshen things up. So, you know, I enjoy that side of it. But then not even the podcast. Like when we went in to do the, remember how you taught me how to make a Donair like 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Like things like that. That's great. And that widens our viewership.
for sure.
You know, it's always thinking differently, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have a podcast out in Alberta one day. We'll just do it in the back of KOD, like all the way out there.
Yeah,
And
hopefully
back in the kitchen.
when there's no 14-day quarantine.
Yeah, I know.
Coming back.
I know.
Yeah.
Is there quarantines in other places of Canada, or is it just here?
I think it's just here.
Is it just here? You don't know, Mark.
Well, it's other places I've heard as well. Some I've even heard they knocked it down to 10 days.
Is it down to 10 days? I don't know. That's probably why we're doing so well here with the cases. The fact that we're just doing things like that.
Yeah.
We're pretty safe. Someone said like the safest place in North America is here the other day.
Yeah. They're comparing it to little New Zealand. I mean, because New Zealand at one point was, I don't know how long they went with no cases, but it is one of the safest spots in the world.
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's respecting it too. You go to the grocery store, everyone's got the mask on.
Yeah.
You know, it's just everyone's kind of respecting the rule.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah. There's the odd, there's always someone who's against everything for any reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, for majority, 100%.
Yeah. I guess what it comes down to is, I don't even figure what I was going to ask here. Oh yeah, rest of the day. I know I already asked you like from 9 to 5, what are you doing? But rest of the day, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna head.
Your phone's blowing up.
It's I'm gonna get some lunch in a bit.
What are you gonna have for lunch?
I'm trying to get this. I'm on a 6-week challenge right now.
6-week challenge of what?
It's I go to a gym here called Evolve, and they do like these 6-week challenges where these habits you have, and just basically I'm trying to eat healthier. So I'm gonna go home, and I've got this wicked shake that I make. It's chocolate peanut butter, and I literally crave it every day. Like I have it. It's like I look forward to having it. So I'm gonna go home, have a shake, and try and throw some, not big on veggies, but throw some veggies in, and then have my lunch and go back to the office. And I've got a couple email interviews there, and then I've got some paperwork, and I've got some today. My big focus is on our expansion for, I was talking about that U.S. expansion, or the multi sort of location expansion, is working on some stuff for that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And you did bring up martial arts, Jujitsu.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I ask how you got involved with that?
Yeah, no, for sure. My older brother was, he basically I did everything he did, from football to martial arts, and I was always in some form of martial arts, whether it was karate or I guess just karate. But
Like from as a kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I played football my whole life, and after football, it was just a nice something to fill the void, because that's quite a bit of dedication, 7 days a week, and film, and on top of that. So I was actually over in Australia. I did a bit of jiu-jitsu here while I was at St. Mary's, and then I just couldn't juggle football and that. And then when I went to Australia, I was playing football down there as well, and I just there was a club that opened up close to me, and I stopped going to football practices and just showed up for games, and then started going to jiu-jitsu more. So I guess the heavy of it, when I really got into it, was in Australia, and I came back here, and I've been doing it ever since.
How many gyms are around here for jiu-jitsu?
There's probably half a dozen, I'd say.
No way.
Yeah, but, and where I train is Titans Jiu-Jitsu, and Kevin Taylor and Peter Martel, those guys are the OGs in Jiu-Jitsu for Atlantic Canada. They brought really the sport here to the province.
From where?
They would train out VHS tapes of Renzo Gracie, who's based out of New York. So then they go up to New York and learn there. But literally, it was Peter would go around from gym to gym, and whether it's a wrestling gym or a boxing gym or judo, and he'd try and basically challenge people and be like, hey, let me try this. And so that's how it started. And then him and Kevin got together, and so they've been doing jiu-jitsu here. Geez, I don't know, probably the early 90s.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and they're still doing it now till this day. And like I said, I've been doing it probably 10 plus years, and I've got my son who just started last month in it now too. So
How old's your son, sorry?
5.
No way.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan talks about it all the time, the benefits of jiu-jitsu, not even physically, just mentally.
Yeah.
What are the benefits you get from it?
It's such like, I would talk about stigma with Donair. I think jiu-jitsu, I think it's getting away from that, but it's not like people think meathead, it's not like that. It is a very cerebral and smart sport. It's not just, obviously if you have physically gifted, then it's going to help. If you're fast, if you have different body types, it's going to help. But it's really using your mind. It's people say all the time, human chest, and I feel like that gets thrown around, and it's so true, because there's a move for a move for a move for a move. There's a counter for a counter for a counter for a counter. There's just always thinking, it's not just what can I do right now, it's what do I do 2 or 3 steps down. Because if you try something, there's going to be a counter for that, and then you're going to have a counter for that, and it's just really thinking. It keeps you sharp. It's a lot of people use it to relieve frustration, but I mean it's a few things. It's learning. You're literally learning all the time. It's active. It's physical. It's just it's so fun.
That's wicked.
And,
I love to hear that.
A lot of people get so many benefits out of it too. You know, you hear people say Jujutsu saved my life, and if I was, you know, it's like I was talking about Anthony Bourdain there. You know, and I don't know the exact quotes, but he said before, you know, he used to be waiting out in alleyways waiting for to get his next, you know, whatever drugs he was doing. Now it's like I wait in alleyways. Now I'm waiting for the gym to open up, and it's literally people get hooked on it. It's just fills this addictive, you know, whether I had a bad addiction before or whether it's like I said, for me it was filling the void of not having football. It fills this void, and you just want more of it.
Really?
Yeah. No, it's super cool.
I'd love to try it. I somewhat understand what you're saying, but to fill a void, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, and like, yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too weird or deep
No,
into
I
it,
don't
but
care, man.
it's yeah, like for me, it's like yeah, I don't know, it helped me out a lot.
Yeah?
So yeah, it's pretty cool.
What does your son say about it? 5 years old. What does he say when he comes home from like a class?
Yeah, he no, he loves it, and I'm there, so I'm helping coach
Okay.
his class too. But no, he loves. I mean, at that age, it's almost like they're playing games, but they don't really know
Working on techniques.
Yeah. So they have like fun games like Crazy Horse, for example, is this game that you play where you try and hold on someone's back and they try and buck you off, and they think they're trying to ride the horse, but really it's practicing their back control and they're you know, just taking control of the back. Spider Kid, you know, you're on top of a kid, you're supposed to have these you're on top of someone, you're supposed to have your hands are like webs and keep your hand on the ground while they're trying to knock you off, but it's really working on their mount and their balance. So there's fun games you can play with it like that. So for him, he's just having fun.
Yeah.
But it's a good way to introduce kids, because you know, you even see now in martial arts you're getting a different kind of fighter now, because kids are starting at this age, 5 years old, whereas for me there was, you know, people weren't doing MMA or Jujitsu at 5 years old. You know, they were getting in at 20 years old or maybe a bit younger. So now you're getting these kids they're not playing hockey at 5, or they may be, but it's not football, soccer. Those are options, but now there's the other option of Jiu-Jitsu and MMA. So you're getting these younger athletes who are, you know, pure martial artists. From a kid, from when they can walk, and it's you're seeing it now in the UFC and in the Jiu-Jitsu game, where people, you know, they're just miles ahead of everyone else who are picking it up as a teenager or 20-year-old.
I never thought of that, and it sounds affordable too, more
Yeah,
affordable than hockey.
For sure, yeah. I never played hockey, but I know everyone. I know the stories. How much it's expensive.
Pricey.
Yeah. And so this one here, literally, you get a gi and you pay your fees at the gym. It's there's no comparison.
And the popularity of it has skyrocketed from. Well, when I was a kid, it wasn't even existed. The UFC obviously wasn't a thing, but the popularity of it now, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Everyone's somewhat of a little bit of a fan of the UFC, even if you don't know the fighters or techniques.
Yeah.
You know, Saturday night comes on, you like a fighter, you're going to buy some pay-per-view and watch that.
Especially now. I mean, it's really, well, you know, they were the first ones. Now we've got basically the finals of hockey, basketball, and baseball and football started up. But I mean, for a couple months there, it was the only thing going on sports. Yeah. But and on top of that, for kids too, it's a confidence builder, you know, and it's huge to build a kid's confidence. And then there's obviously the bullying aspect and all that. So I can't say enough good things about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's the guy's name that started he has the class? You said he started it here?
Yeah, Peter Martel and Kevin Taylor.
Is he a talkative guy? Like, what either one of them want to come on?
Maybe not Kevin, but Peter. I could see Peter doing it.
Peter?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Peter, if you're listening, love to have you on. That'd be cool.
I'll tell him, yeah.
That'd be sick. How many people are like in a class when you're there?
Well, now with, you know, COVID, actually October 1st, we're getting that for sports, increasing it to 50, right? But you know, like pre-COVID, you're looking at, you know, a good class, 20 plus.
So it's like everyone has a partner.
Yeah.
And you just kind of.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you sort of now, like, we kind of try and stick to one person during COVID times. Like, you'll do your techniques with them, but how a typical class would work, you do your warm-up, you learn a few techniques, and you learn some counter techniques.
Yeah.
Then you'll have a roll. So then you'll roll with everyone. I'll roll with you.
What does that mean, a roll?
Like, it's like, you know, let's work on what we did. Let's
grapple.
Okay. Yeah. Grapple, I guess, is the best way to say it.
Is there leagues around here? Like, if like someone wanted to go watch?
Right now there's a couple promotions. There are one promotion's doing like closed off stuff again because of COVID. But prior to that, yeah, there was quite a few tournaments going on. St. Mary's held a few last year. An out of province one came from Ontario or Montreal, put on some, and local clubs will put them on. Yeah, so there are tournaments all over. But again, this just stopped everything. This COVID stuff, right?
I Every time the conversation goes somewhere, it's like, yeah, but COVID stopped it, so
Yeah.
we had nothing to do.
Yeah, like even we go down to, I go down to New York quite a bit, and I go train down there. And we
Do
did
ya?
and we did our club went, I think, last year. A bunch of us went then too, and now I don't even think they're training there right now.
Why not? Oh, because of everything
Yeah.
is COVID. Yeah.
And New York is just like insane too. But I think the gym, I think Henzo's is closed down.
What's
Yeah.
Hems? That's the gym
Henzo,
in New York.
yeah, our gym, yeah. So we're Henzo Gracie Club,
Okay.
yeah, and Henzo Gracie's a guy, and yeah, his Jiu-Jitsu's not even open there right now.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that's brutal.
yeah,
Apparently New York has it bad too right now. It's high stuff.
yeah. I'm glad I'm here and not there. So
Yeah. Well, sorry, is the gym open here? Like you can
Yeah.
work here?
Yeah, yeah.
Just limited numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
and
Cool.
wear your mask when you go in, and
Yeah.
and yeah, all that good stuff. Come in one door, go out the other, kind of thing. So
No,
try
I'd
and limit.
Yeah. I'd love to try it. Like I hear so many good things about it.
Yeah.
Just in the everyday conversation.
Come down sometime. Let me know.
I'm kind of nervous. Like you're a big dude. Like I can't. Like I
Well,
can't grapple with
and
you.
that's the thing too, man. It's not like it's fun when you get these guys who come in think they're, and it's not I'm not saying it like it happens every day, but it does. You'll get someone who thinks, oh, I'm strong, or I did this, I did that. I'm gonna come in. You'll get these little guys who are 100 pounds less than this big guy coming in, and they'll just make them look like a dummy.
Really?
Yeah. That's the thing. It's a smart sport. It's not just how strong you are. Now, if you've got great technique, you're smart and you're strong. That's a good combination, right?
Yeah.
But if you need technique, you need to be smart too.
You almost need to be thinking ahead of another move
For
before
sure.
the other guy.
For sure, yeah. And it's using someone else's body weight too, right? Like if someone who's never done it before, they're gonna come in like this and try and use
Yeah.
all their energy, so they're gonna blow their load right away, or they're gonna just be, they're gonna be pushing someone, and it takes like to parry a punch, right? It's someone can come with all kinds of energy, just little movement to knock their punch out of the way. I mean, very similar with jiu-jitsu. Someone can be trying to, hold you down tight, and you just pull them out of the way, and it's fun.
I'm gonna do some research after this podcast. Just
Yeah.
kind of look it up. That's cool.
For sure.
What position did you play in football?
Mostly linebacker.
Okay.
But then, like I said, I played in England, I played in Australia, and the level competition is a bit lesser, so I was just having fun, playing a bit of fullback, D-line, really, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever play rugby in Australia?
Never, no.
No.
Just because football, it was very popular over there.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah, like, I mean, in England, I think there was like 40-some. I played for university there. There was like 40-something teams in the league, and then in Australia, it was a men's league. They had state teams. They had a national team. It was a lot bigger than I thought. Like even my team, there was like a left tackle who played at Michigan with Tom Brady. You'd hear about, this team's got a Vanderbilt quarterback, or there's a lot of U.S. people and Canadians who go down there, whether they're traveling or met a girl or something, and they play down there too. So there's some good talent.
I wouldn't have thought that. That's
No,
crazy. Good to know.
Yeah, I didn't think that either.
Because now that I think about it, the NFL they do games in London, don't they?
Yeah.
Exhibition and regular season.
Yeah. And it's funny. I was joking around with my wife actually on Saturday night. I was watching the fights, and I said I was ahead of my time because for my master's I had to do a dissertation, which is like your thesis, and I was going to do it on. I made a proposal to do it on either the internationalization of football or MMA, and there wasn't enough academic research at the time. And now you look at MMA, where they're literally fighting. UFC's putting on events all over the world. I think now they said on Saturday they have 7 different nationalities for champions in the weight classes. And then look at the NFL, where they're playing in Mexico and in London and Canada, and they're doing a big push for international players as well. Even when I played in Australia, there was an Aussie there who. Jesse Williams, he got picked up by Seattle Seahawks.
No way.
And they're trying to get the big Islanders down there because they're just massive forces, right? And a lot of Aussies will go and be kickers or punters in the NFL. So I was just joking, saying, I was ahead of my time trying to do a dissertation on that, whereas now both sports are so global.
Did you ever go to New Zealand and see the All Blacks play?
No, I never did. That was a regret living. I was there for 2 years. And I
Oh,
went
you
to-
lived in New Zealand?
No. I was in Australia. Yeah, it was
Australia,
a
right
regret
next to
not
it.
going
Yeah.
to New Zealand, being so close.
Yeah.
Like I did Thailand. I did travel around Australia. I was playing football too, and so my weekends would be doing games. And went to Japan while I was there, but never did New Zealand.
No?
No. So I'll have to go back there at some point.
Japan, Thailand,
Yeah.
Australia. You've
Yeah.
been around.
Yeah.
You probably had, because if you think of, I don't know, whenever I think of Europe, at least, I think of gyro.
Yeah, you know,
Like you must have
yeah, gyros, the kebabs, the donors.
the
they-
kebab, the
yeah.
Donair kebab.
And you look at it, and that's why a lot of people say they'll be like, "Oh, Donair is not the same thing." First of all, I think we're spelling it wrong because we put an I in it. Isn't it Donair? Or yeah, we have that in Germany. We have that here too. It's because when you look at it, it's just a piece of rotating meat, which a lot of people everywhere around the world has that, and it's on a bread. But it's you always say you have to taste it. I mean, it's the three components: the bread, your carb, the protein, which is the meat, and then your sauce. They're
Yeah.
all different. You know, we use a Lebanese pita, whereas most places have like almost a non-bread or a thicker gyro pita. We use 100% beef, and whereas most places have either a pork, lamb, or a hybrid of beef and lamb or something. And then the sauce, most places use a tzatziki or a mayo based, whereas we have the sweet Donair sauce.
It's different.
Yeah, so you've got to taste it. I mean, the look of it, it looks the same, and that was a tough
Yeah.
thing that we were trying to break. You know, we're trying to sort of, how do we differentiate it from a rotating piece of meat?
But
you
it's
can't-
tough.
You can't really do that unless you taste it.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to market outside of
Yeah.
separating it,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
it is all over Europe.
It's all over the States too. They've got in little, the dollies.
Halal
or-
guys.
yeah, and they're huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But no, it's a completely different taste.
Yeah.
100%. But that's the essential grab in Europe.
Yeah.
Kebab. It's on every corner.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. But then you come back here, it's completely different.
Yeah.
But if there's people in Alabama and China coming over here in the summer times and they're like, "Where's the best Donair?" Then some people must somewhat know.
Yeah, and it's spread like we said, like the Anthony Bourdain, that was an official food of Halifax. Like those are big events that really
Help.
brought us, helped. And we actually had a guy, it was 2 years ago now, a reporter from Japan sent an email, and it was Kyoto News, and I kind of looked at it and I was like, this looks like spam. We get spam all the time. It's like, we're like, maybe it's real. So I wrote back to the guy, and long story short, his first time in Canada, he came to Halifax to try Donair. He was here for 3 days
Yeah.
and did an interview with myself and my family, and Mayor Savage came down for it. And he came here because there's a big, he said, kebab culture going on in Japan right now. He heard about the Donair, so he flew in here, and he had a translator with him as well because he didn't speak very good English. And I came here for 3 days to do an article on the Donair
No way.
from Japan. It was nuts.
Just to interview you guys.
Just to interview us. It came in the winter time, so he'd never experienced that kind of cold. Never been to Canada, and he was in the store eating Donairs 3 days in a row.
Get the That's
Yeah,
amazing.
that was cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
He's trying to smuggle like Donairs back in his suitcase
Yeah,
to
yeah,
Japan.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
Yeah,
That's incredible, man. You guys have an amazing story. That's awesome.
yeah, that was different.
We're coming up on an hour here, so I'm sure you're really busy. I'll let you go. Last minute of the podcast is yours. If you want to thank anyone, family, friends, customers, you go for it, man.
Yeah, customers, thank you guys for obviously eating and supporting us, and I mean, we've got probably the most loyal customers out there. So yeah, obviously we thank them, and thank you guys for having this. It was a lot of fun, man. I enjoyed it.
And thank you very much for lunch. We appreciate that.
Yeah,
We're going to
yeah, no
enjoy that
problem.
right now.
Cool.
Everyone listening, thank you very much for tuning in once again. We appreciate it. It's Monday, beginning of the week. Get after it. Have fun. Stay safe. Wear a mask. We are out. Peace.